for Rick Younger.
This is more of a companion piece, not so much a rebuttal. When Vanessa first told me her story, I was like, thank you for making them think that you're married to a family of black assholes. I met her family, like she said, it went swimmingly. It wasn't so much that I knew so much about white people going into it, but I did know church people. So I was like, I just pray. I prayed about everything. I said, dear Lord, bless these biscuits. Get up into the eggs, Jesus. Fix it, Lord. Fix it. And I was there. But it was a great thing because the relationship that I have with my father-in-law has been I don't even know the right word to really call it per se, but I found out pretty early on that I was his window into blackness. And because I realized that, here's the thing. Me and Vanessa, our marriage, I like to call it a racial exchange program. I say that because I am the example of a real black person married to a real white woman. And you're like, what does that mean? Well, you should see our wedding pictures. It's me and my black groomsmen, her and her white bridesmaid. I'm from Baltimore. That's right, you've seen Wire, Homicide, Life on the Street. Baltimore's like 80% black. It's like, if she's from Oklahoma. Yeah, I get off the plane, go visit her family. My feet hit the ground, black population rises by 100%. So before we got together, we had like this monolithic experience when it came to race. So, we're constantly learning things. And one of the most profound things that Vanessa ever told me, it really took me aback when I first heard it, but I was probably complaining about white people for some reason. Because we do that, black folks, we complain about y'all. We get our 40 acres in the mule, we think we can complain about white people whenever the hell we want to. So I was probably complaining about white people, and she just stopped and said, Ricky, I don't know how to tell you this, but white people, we're really not thinking about you guys that much. I was taken aback, and I was like, but then I thought about it, it makes sense, because black folks, we need you, white people, we need you. For like jobs, character references, things like that. But you guys don't really need us, per se, and that's really frustrating, and that's why we get so pissed off at you guys. But it's like, being in my marriage, I get to see this firsthand because it's like my father-in-law, it's like this is his first chance to talk to a black person and get some good information without somebody getting mad at him for asking the question. Like I remember one time we watched the movie The Great Debaters, and he's like, the next day we were eating breakfast, and he's like, so Ricky, how did watching a movie like that make you feel? It's like, well, I mean, it's hard to watch some of these things, but I like to watch, stuff like that. Like Black History Month this month, I just get bombarded with all kinds of stuff about my history, just so I can remember, because I'm like, I see that, and I'm like, if they could get, reach the levels that they reached back then with that type of oppression, I figure I can do anything. So it's inspiring to me. And he's like, oh my goodness, that's very interesting to hear. It started when I first decided that I was going to do the right thing and ask for his permission to marry Vanessa. I wanted this blessing. So I called him to ask him to marry Vanessa. And he was like, Ricky, I'm very, very honored that you would ask my permission. He's from Oklahoma and Georgia, so he talks slowly. So. Before I answer, I like to share a story. When Vanessa was a young girl, I took her and her sister to the toy store, and they saw a basketball. And those girls decided they wanted that basketball. I did not want to buy them that basketball. So I came up with a competition. I said to the girls, girls, if either one of you is able to make a shot on one try, I would buy the basketball, figuring they would not be able to make the shot. So Vanessa's older sister Jocelyn went first, and she shot and she missed. So now it's Vanessa's go. And Vanessa goes, and with one shot, she makes it all net. So I bought that basketball because I was convinced that Vanessa had a gift to play basketball. Now Vanessa never fulfilled that gift. But perhaps the two of you can have a child. And he will fulfill that gift. Because your people are good at basketball. Now, say, go ahead and marry my daughter. You can have a basketball player. But that's what our relationship has been. It's been one of those types of situations where you realize that in America, in a place where we could pride ourselves on so much therapy and so much talking about things, we don't really talk about race. So we are in a relationship where we really get to honestly share with each other about race. And Vanessa, early on in our relationship, she learned to trust my black spidey senses. Black folks, we have black spidey senses. That's that ability to know when something is racial. Yeah, that's like Vanessa, I've been black long enough. When I say something's racial, you should trust me on this. We learned this early on in our relationship because early in our relationship, we lived about a block away from each other. And one night I was going to visit Vanessa. And as I was going to visit Vanessa, I turned the corner to go to her house. Winter night. I had on a black coat, black skull cap, I'm scarfed up, everything. I turned the corner, and there's a white woman in front of me. And I got scared. So I once again reverted to my church upbringing and I started to pray. I was like, dear God, please don't let this white woman turn around. Because I knew it wasn't going to turn out well if she did. But to show that God has a sense of humor, that woman turned around at that very moment that I uttered that prayer. And she looked at me and her eyes got huge. And she turned around and started doing that really, fast run-walking thing. It's not, kind of like it wasn't really running because it didn't qualify. It was in the late room, going around it all the time. But she was really kind of running. I'm like, oh, dear God, please don't let me catch up with this white woman. I'm like, whoa, but I'm taller than her. So I'm gaining on her. It's like I'm like fulfilling her greatest zombie apocalypse black nightmare. She's moving as fast as she can. I'm just walking. And she is like, just eventually just gets so scared, so she just runs into the doorway of an apartment that's obviously not hers. And I can see her and it took all of me not to reach there, just screaming at that, look lady, I'm going to go see a white woman, it's just not you! So I get to Vanessa's apartment, and I mean, as much as we hear, we have that whole stereotype about the angry black man, a lot of times the angry black man is just a defense mechanism, because when those types of things happen, it hurts. And like, I was hurt. I was so upset. I was like, Vanessa, I can't believe it. On my way over here, I just scared the hell out of a white woman with my mere black existence. And she stopped and said, Ricky, I don't know if that was racial. Because I'm a woman, and when I'm out at night, and I see a man, it doesn't matter if he's black or white, I become afraid. I was like, yeah, but she was running down the street going, please nigga, don't kill me, please don't kill me. It was racial. So you're probably trying to figure out what is my point with all of this. I'm trying to also. No, but really my point is that, like Vanessa said, we grew up in a type of childhood where we were both raised in the church. And part of growing up in church is that you pray for your future spouse. So we both grew up, like basically making a checklist. Like, this is what I want in a spouse. So when I was growing up, I had all this checklist, and I'm like, oh, I want somebody who is a team player, someone who's on my side, and, you know, someone who I can depend upon, who, you know, we think the same way, and we have, you know, share so many things. And as I'm dating Vanessa, I'm checking all the things off the list. But then I realized that the reason I'm not really pulling, you know, that it's taking so long for me to make these decisions, like, okay, man, let's take her home and meet the parents, let's go ahead and buy a ring, and let's go, because I was like, this woman is great. As soon as I find a black woman with all these qualities, that's gonna be the one. And then I realized, I was like, oh my goodness, God does have a sense of humor. And I realized that the person that I've been praying for was right there all along. She has a nice ass, so God does answer prayers. And she is a wonderful, beautiful white woman, and I love her to death.